How's it going? My name is Martin and welcome back to my channel. If you enjoy my content, please remember to like and subscribe. It helps out a ton. In today's video, we're going to be looking at one of the most fascinating topics there is, in my opinion, and that is dreams. I'll be drawing on work by Freud, Jung, Johnson, amongst others, to elucidate this interesting topic. Let's jump in. First of all, let's look at the unconscious. Now, Freud famously proclaimed that we are not masters in our own house. And that means that basically everything that happens in our life is happening below our conscious awareness. There is this beautiful analogy that the ego or our conscious awareness is this small island amidst the world oceans. And essentially, everything that is happening in our lives is happening behind the scenes, rather, to carry the analogy further, below the surface. And this is something that has been established now, and if you think about it, it's very obvious as well. I mean, there's so many things that you would need to think about to function properly. All your bodily functions, all your needs, desires, everything is happening below the surface, and you would simply not be able to be aware of all these things and try to control them. No, you can't, even if you wanted to. But that's why we have this concept of the unconscious and the conscious. The unconscious being this incredibly massive black box, almost one could say, where things are being controlled without you knowing how. So how do dreams fit into all of this? Now, presumably we would like to understand all these things that are happening beneath the surface, that is to say, what is happening in the unconscious part of ourselves. And the psychoanalysts have shown that dreams are one of the main ways of doing this. In Freud's seminal work, The Interpretation of Dreams, he shows that the unconscious communicates to us or with us through dreams and through pictorial language in dreams. And that is one of the reasons why dreams are important to consider. Now, if we take a look at dreams historically and we step back for a second, we see that dreams have been valued very highly. Looking at the West, they were seen as possible messages from God, and looking to the East, in some traditions, they were considered equally important as that of waking consciousness. That is to say, there was no qualitative difference between the dream state and your conscious waking state. It was probably during the Enlightenment, with the rise of rationality and empirical sciences, that the devaluation of dreams started stepping in. It was then seen as superstition and baseless fantasies, essentially. But then this was revived again, this importance of dreams, particularly through Sigmund Freud's work, where he sort of showed that dreams was the unconscious's way of communicating with us, and hence an incredibly important thing, as opposed to something that can be disregarded as pure fantasy, fiction, and unimportant. Langdon Hughes said, "Hold fast to your dreams, for if your dreams die, life is like a winged bird that cannot fly." There's lots of positive and negative connotations to what dreams are in our society, but it's clear that living a life without dreams can be a hopeless and uninspiring life. Clearly, having dreams are important to live exciting lives, but not in the sense of having dreams like we do every night, but more in terms of having aspirations. But there's some sort of conflation between those terms. I mean, obviously we believe in having dreams, but we don't necessarily believe dreams, if you see what I'm saying. It's funny that the psychoanalysts have found that dreams are so crucial to understanding ourselves, and the way to do that is to understand that dreams are the unconscious's way of communicating with us through their pictorial language, or the dream language, which is nothing like our language, but it is a felt language, and it is paradoxical, just like nature truly is. In terms of the significance and the meaning of dreams, I have made another video that you can check out here. But what I've fundamentally come to believe is that dreams are the psyche's way of communicating to us things that we need to focus on in our present lives. Whether that is about issues, historical or present, that we need to work through. It could also be an image of where we need to move going into the future to live a more authentic or fulfilling life. And that's why I think it's so important to take these dreams seriously. They're essentially messages from deeper parts of yourself that is trying to guide you and to give you direction. In terms of going about understanding your dreams better, I'd highly recommend a book by Robert A. Johnson called Inner Work. It's a book that delves into dreams and active imagination, and in the book he lays out a 4-step process on dream interpretation. It has to do with associations. So what are the associations with the different objects in the dream? Amplification. Can you see parallels to what's happening in the dream? For instance, in culture, in literature, mythology, religion, etc. Third is dialogue, which in some sense has to do with understanding that all of these things that you're experiencing in your dream, the people, etc., they are aspects of yourself. And the fourth is ritual, which has to do with symbolically, what would you say, reenacting or showing the psyche that you understand what it is trying to tell you. And the beauty about the psyche is that it doesn't distinguish between a literal and a symbolic act. So, for instance, a trivial example is that if you need to play out some sort of aggression in a way, you don't actually have to go out and hurt someone. In each of us, there is another whom we do not know. He speaks to us in dreams and tells us how differently he sees us from the way we see ourselves. This is a quote by Jung, and the question is, do we want to take this other seriously? I certainly think you should. If you are interested in doing that, I recommend checking out the book that I recommended earlier, and also diving into some of Freud, but perhaps more particularly Jung's collected works. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe. And I'd love to hear your thoughts about dreams down below.